Welcome to the Campus Cook Show, where we learn about our Bloomsburg University students and the foods that they like to make. I'm here with Ryan DePiero.
Hello, I'm Ryan DePiero. I'm a senior, and I'm here to cook some burgers for y'all.
So what type of burgers will you be making for us today?
So I'm going to be making a pretty standard, you see this in pretty much all fast food now, is a thin patty here. Get a close-up of this here, boys. I put this here so I won't get it stuck. You can use it any kind of pan, kind of like that. I usually at home have a cast iron skillet and also a own burger press. Though burger presses, I find, actually don't work too well. So really, you just put any piece of paper here if you don't want to get stuck to your pan, and then you just crunch that down, punch it, and then you get a nice flat patty. And then usually, right there, you have that. And here, and this is how I learned to know if it's hot enough. Now, normally you want to cook your burgers in between 300 and 400 degrees, depending on how fast you want it to cook. You splash water here. If it gets away, evaporates quickly, you're good. Oh my God, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Now, what can you tell us about the burger you're making?
So, I personally learned, that's way too hot, but what I learned to cook from, I only know how to cook one thing, okay? I only know how to cook a cheeseburger. And there is no such thing as a hamburger, because you should never have it without cheese. Even if you're lactose intolerant, let's hope we don't set a fire alarm here. We should always put cheese on it. It messes up my audio. So, you should always put cheese on your burgers. Now for this, I learned from George Moats. He's kind of like Burger Jesus to me. So, he actually went all around the world, and specifically the United States, to find out what is the best burger. And he actually found out that there's a lot of different kind of regional burgers. There's actually an area in the United States called the Burger Belt that goes from Wisconsin all the way down to Oklahoma and Texas area. And that's where you'll find the best burgers in the United States. And that's what we're going to focus on here. So George Moats, he says smash burger is the way to do it. You get a lot of much even cook, especially if you want to keep it medium rare, as you should. If you want it rarer, you're just wrong. He also says, and this is something that a lot of people do wrong when cooking, is you shouldn't season your meat until after you start cooking. You want to do it as close to cooking time as you can. That's just because if you season the patties before you're cooking it, you're going to get a lot of a tighter, a kind of more bunched up texture to your burgers, and that's going to dry it out much quicker. And no one wants a dried burger.
You seem to know a lot about burgers. Do you have any history with burgers?
I would say I'm a burger enthusiast, and mainly because it's the only thing I know how to cook. And I think it's just because of how much I like a cheeseburger. So actually right now, I'm going to turn that on the heat even more. And this is when you do it. You're going to want to add your cheese while cooking. This is how you can tell another way to keep it like that. I'm also going to bring out more meat here. So my history of burgers is ever since I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. And in Nashville, there's a burger place called Fat Moe's. Now, I may have been 5 or 4, but I just knew then that that burger was something special. So, ever since then, I just really like burgers, no matter what it is. Maybe it be from McDonald's or other burger places. I actually worked at Jake Wayback Burgers. I would say that's probably the best way to get to get a good flat top burger. So we're actually going to make a double cheeseburger since I have a lot of product here. We'll leave it there. Another thing is your burger will continue to cook even after you take it off the grill. This is something generally for cooking steak or other kinds of meat.
Since you talked about the Burger Belt and all the types of burgers that are within this belt, can you tell me the interesting one, the most special one that you know of?
I certainly can. In Cincinnati, there's a kind of burger, it's called a steamed burger. You'll never guess what they do with it.
Steam it?
They steam it. Now, they don't just steam the meat, they also steam the cheese as well. And that makes a very interesting look to the burger. Additionally, they also steam the buns, which is actually pretty common in a lot of places, instead of toasting it. Normally I would toast the buns, but we don't have time for that, or enough hands. So really they steam it all, and I'll bring up some pictures of it. And I never got a chance over to Cincinnati, but I certainly want to try a steamed cheeseburger.
Very interesting. Could you tell us some history about burgers?
So, the history of burger is actually disputed and rather interesting no matter what. So, you ask other people, they're going to say the cheeseburger is actually, well, not cheeseburger, the hamburger itself is actually Roman in origin. So what they would do is they would kind of mince the meat, any kind of meat, may it be mainly fish, as roams on the that is on the sea. So they would put minced up fish with fruits and vegetables to make this kind of fish patty. Now I don't think that's a burger, not only because there's no cheese on it, but also because it's not any beef in it, right? What's essential to a cheeseburger is what meat you're putting in. So what I actually think, and others agree with me, is that the history of the cheeseburger actually starts in Mongolia. The Mongols, as you know, were a roaming nomadic tribe. So what they would do is they would put meat underneath their saddles. And under their saddles, the meat would get tenderized as they rode through the day. And then eventually at the end of the day, after they're done raiding and pillaging, they would just eat it. They would cook it up and eat it. So, little known thing is Russia, culturally for a while, was separated from the rest of Europe and Asia. So once that fell around in the classical period, culture things such as this Mongolian meat started coming out from Russia's side and ending up in a place called Hamburg, Germany, where they thought, well, obviously we're not going to ride horses to tenderize this meat, so let's just grind it up. So what they did is they just grinded up the meat. This one's a little smaller because I messed up, but they grinded up the meat and put it on a plate, and they called it a Hamburg steak. Now, the actual hamburger part of it that you're all familiar with, such as putting on your condiments here, actually originates from the World's Fair in New York. So in New York, what they would do, this is when food was going everywhere. But actually related to the burger in a way, it was the Frankfurter, which they were showing off at the World's Fair, and they wanted to make it portable. So what they did is they put it on a bun. And I guess whoever was running that hamburger stand saw that and thought, well, I can do that too. So he just puts it on a bun, and that's where the hamburger was born and joined with bread. So right here, I prefer to put some onions on my burger here. Another thing is, you can just do this. You're going to put lettuce here. You want to put it on the bottom. Anytime you're making a burger, you put your lettuce and fresh kind of goods on the bottom, because if you put it on top, it's going to wilt. Put it on there, and then obviously you get your condiments, your ketchup, your mustards, and you just put it on there. Now, Zach, what do you like to have on your burger?
Me, personally, I like a rodeo burger. Some onion rings, barbecue sauce, and a good white American cheese on my burger.
And you think, oh, I'm going to get over here. The rodeo burger, that's actually in the Burger Belt, part of Texas there. You get a lot of, especially since they have this heavy culture on barbecues, that's where that is from, obviously, from Texas. Good right there. Oh, no knife. Do we have a knife? Anyway, we'll just put it on the ledge here. And that is a pretty standard Ryan burger. Now, Zach, would you like to take a bite of that?
Sure, I would.
It is a bit messy, and I think, kind of like how you can't trust a skinny chef, you can't trust a food if it's not messy. Tell me how that is.
Yeah, it tastes like a good burger I'd have on 4th of July.
Exactly. And it's not the 4th of July, but it is a good burger. And that's all I can show you, for I only know how to cook one thing, Zach, and that is a good cheeseburger.
That was the Campus Cook Show. Please like and subscribe to see more videos, and hope you'll see the next video of who we'll have next.